ready to take our first look at the crankshaft. Let's move this block out of the way. Bring up what we're going to be putting in this is an Eagle crankshaft. Eagle's relatively new to manufacturing junior crankshafts. I haven't had any experience in building a motor with an Eagle crankshaft, so this is going to be my first look, as well as a lot of people's first look and experience, you know, seeing how this looks coming out of the box. Maybe be able to pull that off. Alright, good. I didn't have to walk over to the toolbox and get a cutter for the zip tie. Alright. We have, it's like a fairly nice piece. And let's see. Doesn't look like it has a date on it though. You know, I know a lot of the other manufacturers, ARC and JR, all you know, stamped a date on the crankshaft as to when it was actually made. All in all, looks like it's pre-clearanced for the most part. And you can see it's where it's cut away here for the intake lobe. And this happens to be the weak link where the old crankshaft broke. And while we're on that subject, why don't I go get the old crankshaft and I'll show you where that crankshaft broke and talk a little bit about why I think it broke. Alright, I went and retrieved the original crankshaft that came in this motor, and as you can see, right where it was clearanced for the intake lobe, that tends to be a rather weak link, you know, and obviously that's where this crankshaft snapped. Part of the reason this crankshaft failed, I don't know if you'll be able to see right there if you can read that. It says 10/29/2008. That is a long time for a crank to be in one of these motors. These motors tend to spin up rather high. Have, like, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of meat there, you know, holding those in this particular build. And couple that with the fact that this motor had a steel flywheel on it. Nothing wrong with that as far as, you know, being legal or illegal, but the steel flywheel compared to a aluminum flywheel is considerably heavier and putting a whole lot more stress, especially at higher RPMs. And I think the age, the clearancing, and most importantly the steel flywheel contributed to this crank failing the way that it did. And when this crankshaft failed, it obviously caused the camshaft to fail as well as taking out the connecting rod. So, you know, yeah, crankshafts aren't cheap, but they're considerably cheaper than, you know, to get it before it grenades than to go ahead and have to replace an entire motor because of it. One of the things I did notice is that this crankshaft did not come with either a keyway or timing gear. I'm used to, you know, I buy all my crankshaft from JR Race Car, and I'm used to getting them with the key and the timing gear at the same time. Every time I've ordered a crank, they've come that way. thought that's the way all of them came, but I was told, you know, when I was talking about this setup with another guy that I know that builds his own junior motors, he said the ARC cranks generally don't come with timing key or the timing gear for the cam. So, you know, just something to be aware of if you're, you know, looking at purchasing one of these and you need those parts. So let's go. We're gonna stop here for a minute. I'm gonna retrieve the broken part of the crankshaft that still has the gear on it. When we come back, I'll meet you over at the press and we'll press that timing gear off and we'll see if it doesn't match up with this Eagle, being that that's an ARC crank and this is an Eagle crank. Hopefully they all use the same factory Briggs parts and it'll all work out. Alright, here we are back over at the press. Let's line up the arbor plates to give us the most room under here for the crankshaft counterbalance. Go ahead and take our bearing puller, or gear puller in this case. We'll slide it underneath the jaws of the gear. Go ahead and tighten these down. You probably also do this with your standard small 3-jaw gear puller. But you need quite a bit of length to get down under here, and also need quite a, you know, shallow grabbing arm to get down under to where you can actually grab hold of the tooth of the gear. But either way, it shouldn't take a whole lot of pressure to actually, you know, remove one of these. Alright, we're back. I had to raise the support table up just a little bit because I didn't want to have to try stacking things in between the press ram and the crankshaft. And we'll go ahead and we got everything locked in. We're going to start pressing our gear out. We're pressing our gear off. Like I said, it shouldn't take a whole lot of effort. Nope, there it goes. There we are. Take our keyway out. Oh, keyway almost wants to come out right here. Nope, there it goes. Alright. And that can go in the scrap pile. But we got our cam, we got our crank timing gear, and our keyway. So we'll go try these out over on the Eagle crankshaft and see how they fit. Alright, we're back at the crankshaft. Got the keyway all deburred and cleaned up. Actually, it didn't take a little bit, just a little bit of lapping on the sandpaper there. Just go ahead and press and tap that down into place and get my again, don't use a regular hammer on this. If you have a brass hammer or a brass drift, that's all you really want to use. You know, if you need to tap anything down. You know, using a regular hard steel hammer, you could end up creating a burr or something, but brass being softer than steel, it won't damage anything. Now we're probably going to need to press this gear on as well. Let's see if it'll let's see if we can do it by hand here, or if we're going to need to take it over to the press. Oh, she almost wants to go. Alright, looks like we're going to have to go back over and put it in the press and press the gear on. So, we'll meet you over back by the press. Alright, we're back at the press. We got our table down to where we can get some reach on everything. We have a piece of PVC pipe that'll go over the ram on the press, and I don't think I got this down far enough. Make sure I got the ram all the way up. Take that all the way up. Well, one thing we want to make sure we're doing is not risking damage of the gear or bending the crank. So we're going to use our bearing block, or our bearing separator, to slide in here, and that'll allow us to have a straight press down. So we're going to, we might need to shorten that up just a little bit, or drop the table down. Let's see if we can get it all to fit in here without having to cut everything a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. We know it's not going to take a whole lot of effort to press this bearing down, or this gear down on there. Oh, and it's just a little bit long. So we're gonna have to shorten this up just a little bit. So let me shorten this up and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back here at the press. We're going to be using our same bearing block, or bearing separator plate. It fits real nice down in here. We want to be making sure we got a good straight press, and we're not trying to hold it here and risk bending the crankshaft. Although we're not talking about a whole lot of pressure here. It didn't take, as you saw, remember last time, we didn't take a whole lot of pressure to get off. We got to slide a piece of 1 inch or 1.5 inch PVC tubing here down over that. Slide this over to where we can get that so that we're just supporting the crankshaft on our bearing separator. Make sure, alright, I'm happy with that. Move everything over to where you can press straight down on the gear. Like I said, it shouldn't take a whole lot of effort. But we want to make sure we're using something that's not going to mar the teeth of the gear or anything that's going to cause us problems later. And as you can see, There it is. Alright, there we go. We got our crank gear all pressed on.